In this guide we're going to be taking a look at how to cut a chicken up correctly to get the maximum chicken out of it. So to get started we want a sharp knife. Use whatever sharpening tool you have. Any knife that is the sharpest will be the best. So let's get started. We're going to get started by actually chopping it into 2 breasts, which are going to be then diced into different sections, 2 wings, and 2 legs, which is going to be cut into drumstick and thighs. So let's get started with the chicken fillet first. What you want to do is find the middle bit. There's a rigid middle bit made of cartilage, and we want to find that or go either side of it. I'm going to make a quick slice and it's either going to be on the left or the right side. Just feel in there to see where the hard bit is. On here it's on the left hand side, meaning that we can do the right fillet first. I'm going to turn it towards myself, and here is where we're going to run the knife down the fillet, trying to get as much chicken as we possibly can. We're going to basically just keep scoring as close as we can to the cartilage/bone section. This is in essence just freeing the chicken fillet from the actual bone itself. The more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. No one gets it perfect first time, and it really does take some time to actually get every bit of chicken on there. You want to keep cutting until you get to the bottom of the chicken fillet. Here you're going to find that it's actually still being held on by skin, so I tend to come on underneath and then just cut the skin away from the bottom, meaning that it's easier to cut the fillet away from the chicken and actually release it completely. Once you've done that, it's only going to take a few slices to actually take off your complete chicken fillet. There we go, we've got one done. Now we want to get the other chicken fillet, and the best way to do is just find that middle rigid bit and then put your knife on the other side and cut downwards. Just get that first initial slice first, then turn the chicken towards you. We're going to do the same thing, which is basically trying to run the knife as close as we can to the bone so we can get as much chicken fillet as we can. Don't feel bad if you miss some chicken, nothing's going to go to waste here. So following the same routine, we're just going to score down slowly, and we're going to cut the skin away from the bottom just to be able to easily release the chicken. Follow it along, and then we've got the whole chicken fillet cut open. I'm going to cut from the bottom here because it's still being held on by quite a thick bit of skin. As you can see, we now have a chicken without any fillets. They've both been completely removed. So let's move on to the wings now. The way that we want to do this, or think about it, it is a shoulder joint, and there is a joint holding that to the body, so we want to go around the joint rather than through it. It does take some skill and a bit of practice, but you essentially need to feel around and actually cut around the joint. To do this a bit easier, I'm going to go from the underneath, and as you can see, I haven't had to put any actual pressure or hitting of the knife onto it like a butcher. Once you find that soft bit, it will let you go through the wing. And we're going to do the second one, and again go right around the wing, as if you're imagining there's a ball joint there that you're wanting to cut around. Next we get to the leg section of the chicken. First we're going to cut the leg, and in the same way we want to go around the back of the thigh to try and get the most out of the thigh. Pretty much where my knife's going along now to try and score a line. Now in essence, all of these bits should be easy enough for you to cut right through. Sometimes you might not find that, and you might have to turn the chicken over just to see where the actual leg stops. I'm going to go right from the top and cut down. And as you can see, now I'm having a bit of a struggle here to actually find the exact joint and where I can cut through, and I'm having to apply a little bit of pressure. Just bear in mind, if you're having to cut too much pressure or push too much, then you're probably pushing against the bone, which you don't really want to do. You're just going to splinter it. So now we have a leg free, we're going to move on to the other side, and we're actually going to cut from the inside, which is a bit easier. We're going to follow this along round the back, and we're going to try and find that sort of socket of which the thigh is being held onto the body. If we can cut straight through that like I have just now, it's going to be a straight cut and you can release the leg. Essentially now what we have is we have everything separated. We have the carcass on its own, 2 legs and the breasts. Now I'm going to put the carcass aside because this makes a super easy soup. Put this with boiling water, onion, carrot, celery and some stock and you have yourself a basic soup that is going to taste really good. Here's all the separated pieces from the chicken. 2 wings, 2 legs and 2 breasts. And the best thing about having a large chicken is that you have enough breast to go around. If you go for a medium-sized chicken, you're going to have a lot less to actually cut with. So we're going to want to separate this large chicken breast. I'm going to take the skin off. You don't have to do this, but if you want skin off chicken, it's simply a case of cutting a bit and usually pulling it. Most of it will come off without actually having to cut anything. So in this second fillet, I'll show you how to do it without even a knife. Simply find the easiest bit that comes up and pull towards the top of the chicken fillet, and it's come right off. Now I'm going to separate this into 3 sections. The little tender bit, which is going to be the smallest part of the breast, and we're going to get 2 of them. Let's do the second fillet now and get that second tender. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to separate the fillet in half. As you can tell with chicken fillets, one side is usually thicker than the other. So I'm going to make 2 fillets by going by the thinnest end, and I'm going to try and cut it so the bottom of the chicken stays consistently that height. What that will leave you with is a smaller chicken fillet, which I've got in my hand, and then the original big fillet, but a consistently thick size. This is great for stuff like chicken burgers as well. Now let's do the second one too. This will also help in the cooking process because you don't have one side of the chicken that is thicker than the other, so the whole chicken fillet will cook at the same time. Now, for each breast we're going to be left up with 3 bits, which is 2 parts of the chicken fillet, the main part, and then a tender at the bottom. You got all of that chicken just from 2 chicken fillets. Now let's get down to the chicken legs, which we're going to want to separate into thighs and drumsticks, and you want to go around where the knife is now. Again, it's very important to follow where the ball joint will be. The trick is here to actually cut right in between and where you can see a fold, and then stop, and then angle it a tiny bit, and then keep cutting down. That will make it super easy for you to go through that joint of the thigh and the leg. If you start hitting bone and you're trying to cut against bone, it's going to be hard. You should probably stop. Again, that's the line we want to follow. We're going to go straight down, angle it a little bit to the left, and then cut straight through. That's made for a really easy cut. Now if I was cutting through bone, that would be a lot harder and you would probably end up splintering some of the bone, which might come out in your food later. For the wings, it's the same concept. We're going to want to find the ball joint in the middle. Now for this one, I'm actually going to show you how hard it can be if you don't go through the ball joint, because essentially you're cutting against bone. Now even with a sharp knife, you are going to struggle. I'm having to turn it around. That could have cut my finger at that point because it slipped out, and it is generally so hard to cut it if you don't find to that section. At this point I've ended up having to snap it by pushing it backwards and then cut through. I chop off the bottom bits to the wings because I generally don't like them when cooking. They don't have any meat on them and they're not very good to eat. Now with the second wing, we're going to show you how easy it is if you find the exact ball joint bit to cut through, which is right there. As you can see, with one easy slice, that's just cut into 2 sections of the wing now. I'm also going to cut the end bit off. This one might need a little bit of force. And just like that, each leg is now separated into the wings, the thighs and the drumsticks. You can now go ahead, put that in tubs, season it, freeze it, put it in the fridge, and whatever you want to do with it. Thanks for watching.